Hi everyone, welcome to the first real part of my series where we'll be talking about Love Live's newest idol club, the Hasunosora Girls High School Idol Club, or Hasunosora for short. If you are completely unfamiliar with the group, I recommend that you check out the first video I posted in this series, which gives a brief overview of each Hasunosora character. In this video, I will be discussing and summarizing the first episode of Hasunosora's story from the Link-like Love Live mobile app. Special thanks goes to Idol Story for subbing these episodes. So in the first episode, we are introduced to four of the Hasunosora girls, Kaho, Sayaka, Kozue, and Tsuzuri. Just so you know, the Hasunosora stories are divided into at least 5 parts on YouTube. Each story is over an hour, with each part usually being anywhere from 8 minutes to 14 minutes long. It's quite a lot, so I'll do my best to summarize things without leaving too much out, while also trying to be concise. Episode 1 is called I Want to Blossom. Part 1 opens through the eyes of Kaho in a voiceover fashion. She explains that she is just starting as a first-year student at Hasunosora Girls High School in Kanazawa. She's really excited that she'll be living in a dormitory because that means her parents won't be around to tell her what to do. And honestly, I don't know a single teenager who hasn't yearned for that kind of freedom, so Kaho felt extremely relatable to me right off the bat. We then find out that Kaho is actually rambling all of this off to Sayaka, who doesn't even know who Kaho is. Sayaka is a little intimidated by how bright and bubbly Kaho is, but Kaho doesn't let that stop her. She is determined to be Sayaka's friend, even though Sayaka straight up tells her that Sayaka does not plan to make friends at Hasunosora. Honestly, their back and forth banter during this part was really cute. Kaho is adorably oblivious, and Sayaka is adorably exasperated. Unfortunately, when they get to Hasunosora, Kaho finds out that the school is located in a very remote location. The students need to submit requests to be able to leave the school once a week, and discipline and tradition are highly praised. This is pretty depressing for poor Kaho, who sees her dreams of being a free teenager going up in smoke. But it does mean that Sayaka invites her to go to the club fair that's happening after their first day at school. While there, we learn that Kaho was very frail as a child, and that caused her parents to be very protective of her. She had a very strict curfew and was rarely allowed to spend time with her friends or do fun activities on her own, which is part of why she wanted to attend a less restrictive boarding school. Unfortunately, she ended up at Hasunosora, so she hilariously decides that she'll just run away. Unbeknownst to Kaho, Sayaka has been captivated by one particular club. Part 2 of the story opens with Kozue hearing screaming, which is of course Kaho. Kozue offers to take her to the nurse, and we are treated to this awesome still of Kozue carrying Kaho bridal style. Kozue also teases her about how some of the students always go missing in the mountains every year, and honestly this is where I start getting some Nozomi vibes from Kozue, especially since Kozue then takes Kaho off to get cleaned up and get a new uniform. Along the way, Kozue coaxes Kaho into telling her why Kaho ran away. Kozue ends up telling her that freedom is more than what you can see, and of course this transitions into an introduction to our beloved school idol club. Kaho is shocked to find that Sayaka is already there. Kozue and Tsuzuri both perform, and we find out that what captivated Sayaka earlier was none other than a performance by Tsuzuri. Somewhat disappointedly, at least for me, we don't get to see Kozue or Tsuzuri perform, but instead just see these stills. Once the concert is over, we are formally introduced to Tsuzuri, who has invited Sayaka to be a part of the school idol club already. Sayaka eagerly agrees. She says that she came to Hasunosora to try and change herself, so she wants to try new things. We then get treated to Tsuzuri patting Sayaka on the head and Sayaka being cutely embarrassed by it. This part ends with Kozue asking Kaho to help the school idol club get set up for their next performance. She wants Kaho to act as the school idol club's manager. Kaho agrees while secretly thinking to herself that Kozue was shining really brightly while performing, and that she wants to blossom too. And if you're not sure what blossom means, it's basically the Hasunosora equivalent of aqua wanting to shine. Part 3 opens with Kaho being pouty over the fact that her suggestion to be able to leave the school more often has been denied. Her next idea is to encourage stores to build around Hasunosora, but some off-screen classmates tactfully point out why that won't work. Enter Kozue, who has decided to borrow Kaho for a little while. Kaho decides to tell Kozue about her problem, only she does that thing where you pretend you're talking about one of your friends instead of you, and naturally, Kozue sees right through it. But she indulges Kaho and just tells Kaho to focus on making the school fun. After helping Kozue with the stage, we transition into Sayaka and Kaho in the onsen. For the sake of propriety, it's a bit of a floating head scene where all we can see is Kaho and Sayaka from the neck up. This is where we get to find out more about Sayaka, and we learn that she was a figure skater who came to Hasunosora looking for inspiration. The judges would tell her that she was lacking in expressiveness, so she came to Hasunosora to see if she could figure out what that means. She says that seeing Tsuzuri perform made her feel motivated and that she wants to learn more from Tsuzuri. Sayaka is the first to actually broach the idea of Kaho becoming a school idol. Kaho is somewhat apprehensive of the idea since she's never performed, but Sayaka insists that it would suit her. Despite that, Kaho turns her down. Well, we all know how long that will last, don't we? In part 4, we finally learn a little more about Kozue. She plays the guitar as well as many other instruments, and she also composes her own songs. She's planning to debut a new song at the Hasunosora welcome party. She plays it for Kaho, and while unfortunately we don't get to see or hear it, Kaho responds very favorably. Though she praises Kozue a lot, Kozue still feels like the song needs more work, and in the meantime, she gets Kaho to help her with some of the other duties for the welcoming club. We are then treated to this super cute image of Kaho and Kozue and their practice clothes. Kaho looks so cute. Kozue convinces her to do the choreography of the new song alongside of Kozue under the guise of making sure that the choreography fits the new song. Kaho finds it fun but intimidating as she doesn't feel like she's a very good dancer. This part ends with Kaho acknowledging that the deadline to transfer away from Hasunosora is rapidly approaching, and she then has a phone call with her mother. Hasunosora is the school that Kaho's mother also attended, and she urges Kaho to give Hasunosora a chance. But Kaho is stubborn and determined to avoid doing anything that her parents say. She wants to blossom on her own. Part 5 is the last part of this first episode. It begins with Kaho talking to her off-screen classmates about possibly leaving Hasunosora. They express dismay over her leaving, but also understanding, which just makes Kaho feel more conflicted than before. She ends up talking to Kozue about it again. Kozue explains that her family wasn't happy about her being a school idol at first, but that she had an open and honest talk with them and they came to be a little more understanding of what she wanted to do. Kozue tells Kaho that she didn't want to rebel against her parents, because then she would be doing things just for the sake of rebelling. Kozue only wanted to be a school idol because it's something that she loves doing, not something that she's doing to spite someone else. A flustered Kaho runs off after this, and Sayaka comes in to join Kozue. Kozue shows Sayaka something, although we are not shown what that something is, before we go back to Kaho. Kaho is finally realizing that where she is doesn't matter. Her desire to blossom is something that comes from within her, and it can happen anywhere. It's actually quite a good scene to see Kaho coming to terms with this, as I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with. The very next scene after this is Kaho telling her off-screen classmates that she is not leaving Hasunosora after all. She's determined now to make Hasunosora fun for everyone. And right after that, she goes to Kozue and tells her that she wants to be a school idol. The object that Sayaka and Kozue were looking at earlier turns out to be an idol uniform for Kaho that matches Kozue's. They perform on stage together and Kaho gets lots of compliments once they're done. She ends the episode by saying that they have a lot of work to do but that she's taking her first step and she wants to blossom with everyone. Episode 1 ends with the Dream Believers MV featuring all 6 of the Hasunosora school idol members. Overall, I think this was a successful beginning to the Hasunosora story. One thing that I found disappointing is that we were never actually shown the girls performing, or even hear the songs that were supposed to be so amazing. It was also a little weird seeing Dream Believers at the end, as it includes both Megumi and Rorino, even though they weren't in episode 1. It would have made more sense to me for it to have been a video of Kaho and Kozue performing, but oh well. And another thing that felt a little strange was that we only ever saw the Hasunosora idol girls on screen. We could hear the voices of other characters, but they are never shown. I guess they didn't want to have to animate anyone else, but I would have liked to have at least seen what Kaho's classmates looked like. But other than those minor details, this was an enjoyable episode. It was interesting to see a Love Live idol group where the main character has nothing to do with creating the club, and in fact isn't even one of the first members to join. We didn't find much out about Tsuzuri, but so far Kaho is adorable, Kozue is definitely the Nozomi of Hasunosora, and Sayaka is just along for the ride. Kaho is probably my best girl right now after the first episode, so we'll see if she keeps that status as we continue. If you would like to watch these videos yourself, I'll link the subbed episodes in the description below. A fellow Love Live fan suggested to me that I watch at 1.25 or even 1.5 times the normal speed, and I have to admit that this does make the like Love Live episodes a little easier to watch. Otherwise, that's all for episode 1. See you next time!